Welcome to Reflect with Ed Fassio. Get ready to experience one of the world's first 100% digitally generated podcasts, where we take a step back, dive deep, and strive to learn new things. Join us as we unpack thought-provoking ideas, personal reflections, and inspiring stories to help you stay in the know. Reflect is brought to you by the minds at ByteBrain and powered by emerging technologies from Google, HeyGen, OpenAI, and 11 Labs. Thanks for tuning in. Now, relax and prepare to reflect.
Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. We got a really interesting collection of articles from you guys about songs with meanings that went right over people's heads.
Yeah,
Completely missed the mark.
Yeah, they think they know what the song's about, and then when they actually dig into it, something totally different.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about those songs that, on the surface, sound like one thing, but when you really listen to them, it's a totally different story.
Yeah. And, sometimes it's because of the music itself or, our own personal experiences that color the way that we hear music.
Well, let's dive right into this. So we've got excerpts from articles on everything from like misheard lyrics to backmasking to just how our own perceptions, color how we hear music.
Yeah.
So to kind of kick things off, what are some of the most common reasons that you think that we miss the mark when it comes to understanding a song?
Well, one of the most interesting things is like the interplay between the music and the lyrics in a song. It's
easy to think that the lyrics would be the most straightforward part, but sometimes the music itself, the melody, the rhythm, can actually obscure the true message of the song.
It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
It is.
Totally.
And a perfect example of that is the Police's Every Breath You Take.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
on the surface, with that like soft rock sound and Sting's like smooth vocals, it sounds like the ultimate love song.
Right.
But then when you listen to the lyrics,
It gets a little creepy.
it takes a dark turn, doesn't it? All of a sudden, every breath you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you.
Yeah, it's like...
Sounds less like romance and more like a stalker's anthem.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Well, and that's part of the genius of the song is that it disguises that dark message within this soothing melody.
Yeah.
So that major key, that gentle rhythm, kind of lulls the listener into this sense of security while the lyrics are revealing this tale of obsession.
Yeah, I bet so many people have slow danced to this song.
I'm sure.
And had no idea. Another song that I thought of when I was reading these articles is Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind.
Oh, yeah. Great song.
Oh, it's so catchy. But again, like super upbeat poppy melody. You think it's this like feel-good summer jam.
Right? Total earworm.
Totally.
But lyrically, it's actually dealing with some pretty heavy stuff like drug addiction.
It is.
So, it's a reminder that a catchy tune can easily overshadow the weight of the words
For sure.
that are being sung.
Have you ever been fooled by a song like that? Like you think it means one thing and then you're like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, tell us about it.
But that idea of being fooled by a song kind of brings us to another point, which is, how our own backgrounds and experiences and cultural context really shape the way that we hear music.
That's right.
It's not just about the song itself. It's about what we as listeners bring to the table.
Exactly. The song isn't like a static piece of art. It kind of interacts with each listener's individual worldview. And a classic example of that is Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. I mean, this is a song that is so often mistaken for this like super patriotic anthem.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But when you really listen to the lyrics, it's actually a very pointed critique of the treatment of Vietnam veterans.
It's true. I feel like it's always played at like rallies and celebrations.
It is, yeah.
But it's like, wait a minute, if you actually listen to what he's saying.
It paints a very different picture.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Totally.
And it speaks to this phenomenon where we kind of hear what we want to hear. We filter out messages that might challenge our pre-existing beliefs.
And another example is Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams.
Oh, sure.
Which I think most people just assume is about the year 1969.
Right. Yeah. But Adams himself has said that it's more about like capturing the feeling of youthful passion and a carefree summer romance. And the year itself is almost incidental to those broader themes of longing and memory that the song evokes.
So even just something as simple as a song title can lead to misinterpretations.
It really can, yeah.
Because of our own, assumptions going in.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting like how our own experiences can like really affect how we understand a song.
It really is.
It's like we're all listening with different ears.
Yeah, and that brings us to another element that can lead to misinterpretations, which is like language itself.
Oh, yeah.
Song lyrics, they're often full of metaphors and symbolism and imagery
Right.
that can be open to a whole range of interpretations.
It's like we're trying to solve a riddle wrapped in a melody.
Yeah, and sometimes the artists are intentionally vague.
Oh, interesting.
They want to leave space for the listeners to kind of find their own meaning in the music.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, one example that comes to mind is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles.
Laurel?
I mean, those psychedelic lyrics sparked a lot of speculation about the song being about LSD.
Right at the heart of the 60s counterculture.
Yeah.
So it was ripe for those interpretations.
Yeah, even today the debate continues, which is kind of cool.
It is, yeah. It adds to the mystique.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of songs taking on a life of their own, Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You is another interesting one, because you always hear it at weddings.
Right, it's like the ultimate love song.
Yeah, but it was originally written as a farewell to a business partner.
It was written for Porter Wagoner when she was leaving his show.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how a song can, transcend its original context.
It really is.
And take on new meanings.
It is.
That's so cool. And sometimes it's not even the intended meaning that takes hold, but a misheard lyric.
Oh, yeah.
Which becomes part of music lore.
Absolutely.
Huh.
I mean, misheard lyrics are a goldmine for musical misinterpretation.
Totally.
I mean, Jimi Hendrix's Purple Haze is a perfect example.
Oh, yeah.
You know the line, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky."
Yeah.
People hear, "Excuse me while I kiss this guy."
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, it completely changes the image, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. And it's funny how those misheard lyrics sometimes become even more famous than the original words.
It's true, yeah. And speaking of misheard lyrics that have fueled some wild interpretations we can't forget about, Love Roller Coaster by the Ohio Players.
Oh, yeah.
That infamous scream that everyone thought was a murder taking place.
Oh, right. Like somebody getting murdered in the studio?
Yeah, a total urban legend, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But it just shows how our brains are naturally inclined to find patterns and create narratives.
Absolutely. Even where none exist.
Even if they aren't there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're hardwired to create stories.
We are.
And music is the perfect canvas for those stories to unfold.
Now, if we dig a little deeper into the psychology behind all of this, there's this really fascinating concept called pareidolia. Have you ever heard of this?
I don't think so.
Okay. So it explains why we see faces in clouds or, hear voices and random noise.
Oh, interesting.
Basically, our brains are constantly seeking patterns and meaning,
Okay.
even in those random stimuli.
Wow.
So when we apply that to music,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to things like backmasking or hidden messages,
Yeah.
it's easy to see how our brains might start filling in the blanks
Okay.
and creating meanings that weren't necessarily intended.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So backmasking, for those who might not be familiar with it, is the technique of embedding messages in a recording that can only be heard when played in reverse.
Right.
And this really took off in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
with all these rumors swirling about bands like Led Zeppelin and Queen, hiding satanic messages in their music.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, with Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven,
Uh-huh.
some people claim to hear phrases like, "Here's to my sweet Satan," when the song was played backwards.
Oh, wow.
And this fueled all sorts of conspiracy theories
Of course.
about the band's occult leanings.
Right.
Now, Led Zeppelin, they vehemently denied
Yeah.
any intentional backmasking.
Right.
But that didn't stop the rumors from spreading.
Yeah, it's so interesting how that stuff happens.
It speaks to our fascination with the hidden and the forbidden,
Totally.
particularly when it comes to music.
For sure. Did any bands ever actually admit to doing that on purpose?
Some did.
Yeah.
Electric Light Orchestra, for example,
Okay.
famously inserted a backward message in their song Fire on High
Okay.
that says, "The music is reversible, but time is not turned back.
Oh, wow.
So it was more of a playful nod to the whole backmasking craze
Yeah.
than anything sinister.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, they were kind of in on the joke,
Yeah.
poking fun at the people who were frantically rewinding their record.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
But in most cases, those hidden messages are probably just coincidental, right?
They probably are. Yeah, like we said earlier, our brains are just wired to find patterns,
Right.
even if they aren't really there.
Even if they aren't really there. And that tendency is even more amplified when we're dealing with something as subjective as music.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that all hidden messages are accidental, right? Sometimes artists do intentionally embed, social or political commentary
That's right.
in their music.
Yeah.
Like John Lennon's Imagine, for example.
Yeah.
Like on the surface, it seems like a simple peace anthem,
Right.
but it's actually pretty radical.
It is. He's asking us to imagine a world without possessions, without religion, without borders.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful message, but I think it often gets overlooked because people are focusing on the more palatable aspects of peace and unity.
It's true. It seems like we gravitate towards like the simplest, most positive interpretations,
We do.
even when the song's message might be more complex.
It's much easier to digest a song if it fits neatly into our existing worldview
Totally.
or confirms our beliefs.
Yeah, like Semisonic's Closing Time.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone thinks it's about a bar closing for the night.
Right. The last call, sing along.
But in actuality, it's about the birth of the lead singer's child.
It's a beautiful metaphor for endings and new beginnings.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, we just hear it as like, oh, time to go home.
exactly.
But it seems like we often miss out on those deeper layers of meaning because we're so quick to just latch on to that like surface level interpretation.
I think that's true.
But maybe that's part of what's so cool about music.
It is, yeah.
Like we can find our own meaning,
we change.
even if it's totally different
Absolutely.
from what the artist intended.
Right. And that actually brings us to another crucial point, which is that once a song is released into the world,
Yeah.
the artist kind of loses control
Okay.
of how it's interpreted.
Right.
It's shaped by the listeners and by the culture at large.
Like you're sending a message in a bottle.
Exactly.
You don't know where it's going to end up.
You don't know where it's going to land or how it'll be received.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Well, and a perfect example of that is Hotel California by the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
It sparked so many urban legends and theories.
It has about haunted hotels and satanic cults and
Oh my
all
gosh.
sorts of things.
But the band has always said that it's actually a commentary on the dark side of fame and excess in the music industry.
Right.
But it's fascinating how a song can just take on such a different life that
Totally.
the artist intended.
It becomes this shared cultural experience,
Yeah.
ripe for speculation and interpretation.
It's so cool. Yeah, it really is amazing how a song can become like this big cultural phenomenon
It is.
and inspire so many different interpretations, and spark debate and all that.
And it makes you wonder how many other hidden meanings are lurking out there
It does.
in some of our favorite songs just waiting to be discovered.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
You have.
We talked about how like the music itself can mask the true meaning of the lyrics
Mm-hmm.
and how our own biases and, experiences can lead to misinterpretations.
Right.
And how language can just be ambiguous in general.
It can, especially in songwriting.
Especially in songwriting, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got into like backmasking and the psychology of misinterpretations.
And how people kind of naturally gravitate toward those simpler, more positive interpretations.
Right. Even when a song might have a more complex message.
Yeah, it's like we want to preserve the feeling that the music gives us,
We do?
even if it means like overlooking some of the nuances of the lyrics.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
It seems like there's so much more to listening to music
There is.
than just like enjoying the tune.
Yeah.
Like it's about engaging with the lyrics and thinking about the context and like recognizing our own,
Yeah.
subjective interpretation.
Absolutely. I always think of it like every song is kind of like a multifaceted gem.
Oh,
It reflects different colors and meanings depending on how you hold it up to the light.
I love that.
So there's no single right way to interpret a song.
Okay.
It's a collaborative process between the artist and the listener.
I like that it really emphasizes that like individual connection that we each have
It does.
with music.
Yeah.
It's not just about like passively consuming sounds.
No, it's about actively engaging with the artistry.
And finding your own personal meaning.
Yeah, and that's why we love exploring these topics.
You do.
Because we want to encourage you guys to think about how you listen to music.
Yeah, listen more consciously.
Yeah, more consciously.
You know?
Not just enjoying the catchy tune, but like what's underneath,
Yeah, dig a little deeper.
Yeah, pay attention to the lyrics and, the context and how our own experiences like color our understanding of it.
That's right. And remember, the meaning that you find in a song is just as valid
Oh, I like that.
as the artist's intended, meaning, it's a personal connection.
Yeah.
It's this unique interplay between your life experiences and the artist's creative expression.
So it's like we're unlocking a secret code, discovering all these like hidden depths that we might have missed.
Yeah.
So the next time you're listening to music, try to really listen.
Yeah, don't just let the sounds wash over you.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the lyrics, the nuances of the melody, the mood, the atmosphere.
Ask yourself what emotions it evokes.
What memories does it trigger?
Right.
What message do you ultimately take away from it?
Because you might be surprised
You might be.
by what you discover.
The world of music is full of mysteries, just waiting to be unraveled.
That's what makes it so fun.
It is.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep listening with an open mind and a curious heart.
That's right. And if you have any favorite examples of misinterpreted songs, we would love to hear about them.
Yes, share them with us on social media.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy listening, everybody.